We live in the age of AGI, artificial intelligence, and very soon, if not already, artificial general intelligence is changing everything. But people are very confused about what it actually means. And we here in Pioneer Lands in the Pioneer Academy are going to take a closer look at this crazy phenomenon, and we are going to initiate, as you see this video, one of the most exciting research endeavors ever on AGI. So let me explain what the situation is out there in the world, why it affects you and me, and why it's transforming the economy like crazy, and what we are going to do about it. AI, and that is our prediction, is going to 10,000 times increase productivity by 2027. In case you didn't notice, that is next year. And some people will say, Joe, you're crazy. How is this even possible? Well, I will go into exactly how it's possible right here. And when I'm done, you are very likely going to agree with me. AI is the most important invention in our history, in human history, because for the first time, it is actually not a tool. It is not a technology. It is a thing, maybe a being, who knows, that replaces and supersedes the most important human trait when it comes to the engineering and the manipulation of reality itself, and that is intelligence. Intelligence is not a tool, it is much more than that, and that is why AI is fundamentally different. And we see the first inklings of that true difference from any other technology already in some charts. And I'm just going to show you some charts so we can get a bit better feel of what is actually going on here. First of all, the revenue explosion. Despite people saying, oh, it's all a bubble, when you look at Anthropic, OpenAI, you see the greatest and fastest revenue ramps in the history of the economy, in the history of human civilization. No one can deny that. These companies started at effectively zero revenue in 2022, 2023, zero revenue, and only 3 years later, Anthropic is hitting 19 billion, OpenAI is hitting 25 billion, and you see the curves. They are going exponential. There is no end in sight, and it's actually so big that they are already superseding and exceeding many of the largest companies on Earth in just a few years' time. We also see a new Moore's law for AI agents. Maybe you know Moore's law, right? The doubling of compute capacity every other year. And here you see the length of tasks AI can do. Why is this so important? And what does it mean? It means if you give an AI agent a task, for example, code me a website that does ABC, right? It used to be in 2022 that it can only do that task for 30 seconds. So 30 seconds, and then it basically stops doing the coding task because it's getting confused. It can't stay focused. But today, we already see that we are exceeding an hour and more. And that is crazy when you think about it. It means for an hour, a massive amount of agents can focus on a coding task and complete it with increasing power. An hour of concentrated strategic work. Most importantly, you see the curve. You see where this is ending. Very soon, it will be a day, and then a week, and then a month, and then many years of focused AI compute and coding. One command, and it just goes off and does the job. And you see it with OpenClaw, you see it with all these new agents. Most people are not even aware of what's happening as we speak. We are in an exponential curve upwards of these capabilities, and that has tremendous implications. Most human workers can't even focus for a day on a task. They need commands, they need instructions. That is why they're employees and not entrepreneurs or CEOs. Even many CEOs need to be kicked in the butt and told what to do by the board every quarter or so, maybe every second week. So the fact that these AI agents have these capabilities is just crazy when you think about it. And of course, all of this is reflected in the underlying economics of some of the great companies of our time, like NVDA, the world's largest company right now. That is the revenue of NVIDIA in billions of dollars. The AI revolution started in 2023. And in earnest, NVIDIA started to grow like crazy then. 58 billion, 85 billion, going towards close to $200 billion. So there is no end in sight because NVIDIA supplies the chips, the compute power for the age of AGI. That is happening as we speak. And all of these curves are not normal curves, by the way. The magnitude of these numbers combined with the magnitudes of this growth are completely unprecedented. That never happened before. It never happened before that we see so much cash generation. This is real revenue on that scale. That is already a small country in revenue. Soon it's going to be a mid-sized country next year. After that, it's going to be closing in on $1 trillion per year, being one of the largest economies on earth. Just one company, NVDA, and many others gonna follow. That is going on. Here you see annualized revenue in millions of dollars and the median numbers of months for the AI companies versus SaaS companies. So the software as a service sector, the internet, basically, internet business models, they needed much longer to get to the same amount of annualized revenues than the average AI company, median number, right? So in order for a startup to hit $30 million in revenue, the median, it's only 20 months for an AI company. It used to be 65 months for a SaaS company. That level of acceleration tells you how much more advanced AI is. So what does it all mean, and what does it mean for us? It means that now, when we look at the underlying technology and what's going on, we have entered the age of agentic AI. That happened last year, 2025, maybe mid of the year, but now we're in the middle of this. And the agentic age is so different from the age before, because now AI becomes kind of conscious. It becomes actionable. It becomes helpers, not just analysts. It's not just a chat that chats with you. It takes action. OpenClaw is the most famous example. Now you can tell an AI to actually go out and do research. You can even tell it to go out and build a company. You can tell it to go out and be your assistant. You can tell it and go out and collect the most important news. That's what we're doing here at the Pioneer Academy in some of our segments, research topics, where AI just goes out and collects the most important news on humanoid robots, on many other topics. I will show you later how this looks like. And that is crazy because the agents become more and more powerful. You can also tell it, well, come up and execute on a business. Here's my bank account. Here's my emails. I want you to create a business for shoes. Figure out where to find the shoes, who wants the shoes, craft a marketing plan, launch the whole thing, set up the website, set up the bank accounts, collect the money, get me customers, do all of that stuff. I don't even want to know the details, just deliver me money into my account. We are very close to that point. Some people already did it. There's this crazy story in New York Times about these guys who started selling Ozempic, like Hims, Hers, and they made $1.8 billion, which is crazy, absolutely crazy in a few months, just with agents. So that is the technology we are looking at now. And the economic impact, now we get to the meat. Why this is so important. How can we assess this impact, and what does that actually mean besides giving us opportunities to start giant businesses with only one person or two people? Well, when I look at AGI and we look at what the actual impact is and how we measure that impact, it all comes down, and that is the central metric for me to even talk about artificial general intelligence. Because some academics like Le Kuhn and these people, they're saying it's not AGI, it's dumb, it can't do ABC. I don't care. This is about money, this is about real world impact, this is about economics. Artificial general intelligence, how I define it and determine it, is economic artificial general intelligence. I don't care if this thing is dumb or conscious or not conscious. I care about, is this thing as good or better than a human laborer in a specific job vertical? Because in order to be better than a human, better than the median worker in that space, you need to have generalized intelligence. Think about a doctor. To be the doctor, not just one task. You need to be able to do all kinds of things and know a lot of things about all kinds of things. To beat an attorney, to beat an auditor, an accountant, investment banker, to beat a marketing specialist, you need something like generalized intelligence. And that is what we are looking at. And what we see right now is we are at the inflection point where this actually becomes possible, where the median AGI agent is already better than the median doctor. I hate to say it, they will be screaming out there, but it's just a fact. They're already better than the median lawyer. We are right at the precipice of this. Maybe it takes another 30 days to get there, but we are in the middle of that transition to hit the median. And once this happens, maybe it takes another 6 months, who cares? It's going to happen this year for the majority of white-collar jobs. And once this happens, and that's exactly, I will go into what we are doing now to actually capture that transformative timeline in higher accuracy, to have a predictive model here in Pioneer Lands, in the Pioneer Academy. That's our job, to predict the future by understanding these things and then projecting the timelines. From here, from this AGI inflection point where AI beats the median human in the key white-collar segments of the economy, we will see a massive, absolutely massive transformation of the economy. There are good sides to that and there are very bad sides to it. The good news is, for everyone who's a pioneer, for everyone who wants to do something, for everyone who wants to change the world somehow, who has a vision of the future that is a better future for us, the humans, whoever has that better vision for the future is going to be very happy about that, because once you have a better vision of the future, you have a purpose. You want to get there and you're unhappy with the current situation, or whatever that is. Of course, we have grander plans at Pioneer Lands. We want to build something, not just a stupid little business. We want to build a new civilization to revive a real high quality civilization, high progress, high civilization. That's why I don't see any downside to this whole thing. I need more capabilities because we have a lot to do. So for the people who have a lot to do, who have a clear vision of what needs to happen, who are unhappy with the status quo, for them this is a complete gold mine, because now everyone can get thousands of highly specialized employees. I can get architects. I can get psychological and sociological experts. I can get philosophers who are really good philosophers. I can get investment bankers. I can get economists. I can get whatever I want for $20 a month, maybe $200 a month, maybe $1,000 a month, but all of them together. Everyone can now build complex systems. We can all go to space, or each of us can go to space. We can build massive technology companies and even civilizations, which is my favorite pastime, to engineer new civilizations, together with you, of course. But before that was very hard. Now it's very easy. We just have to do it. So that is the good news of this AGI situation, because the whole point is, and we're getting to the 10,000. I promised you to explain how we get to 10,000x productivity gain. Here's how. Imagine the cost for a specialist goes from $200,000 to $20, right? $20 a year in this case. But when you think about how many specialists you can get for even $20 a month, you can easily get 12 specialists to make this math work. And they would normally cost $200,000 or more. The stuff that I make Claude and Grok do right now would cost me at a minimum $200,000 per team member, and I would need many team members. Now I get it for $20 a month, or maybe $90 Claude and whatever, $40 Grok. You get the point. It is 10,000x because I can get actually more than 12 employees. So it's very simple math to understand and quantify the whole situation with AGI. You need to normalize the whole thing to jobs. You need to normalize it to the question, how much would you pay a human specialist of the same caliber like as this AI, and the same speed, of course? How much would you pay? And I can tell you with absolute certainty, in order for me to get done what I'm getting done right now, would I pay 10,000 times more money normally? And the answer is absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. Absolutely. If I pay $1,000 right now per month, normally I would have to pay 10 million bucks. That actually makes sense. I would not get away with what I'm doing now for less than 10 million a month. Absolutely no way. I have a whole coding team. I'm building Pioneer Lands, the Pioneer Academy. I'm reviewing all kinds of very complicated economics models. I'm doing all kinds of YouTube editing. We are having a whole news team in the OpenClaw agent crowd that we are using right now. It's ridiculous. I would pay so much money, I could even this is ridiculous. This is a $100 million startup. So that is what I mean. And we are not even close to utilizing this whole thing. Our constraint right now is just hiring the agents and make them do stuff and coming up with the visions, with the imagined future. That is the new bottleneck, that I actually have to use my imagination. So what do I actually want? Because now everything becomes real. That is the $10,000 reduction, a 10,000x reduction I'm talking about, and the 10,000x productivity growth, because that is productivity. If you get the same thing at $10,000 times cheaper, you have a productivity growth of 10,000x. I'm not kidding. It is absolutely the case. We basically removed the constraints of human labor. We removed the constraints of any specialist. You can get whatever you want as a specialist. Now you just have to determine what you want. What is the bad part of this whole thing? Well, everyone is going to lose their job very soon. I would estimate 50% of all jobs are gone by 2030s. By 2030. Of course, nearly all white-collar jobs, the robots will take more time. But we will see this eating up into 5% plus of blue-collar by 2032. But the white-collar jobs will be gone, even before. Of course, you can tell I'm more busy than ever before. If you have a pioneering mindset, if you're an entrepreneur, your job is never going to get gone, because someone has to determine what actually needs to happen and envision this. And only humans should make these decisions. But that's not a job. That's a calling, or whatever you call it. A job in the conventional sense will be gone. And our universities, our society are fundamentally unprepared for this whole thing. This is a very dramatic change, as you can imagine, and we are in the middle of this whole thing. We are in the middle of the most exciting and most dangerous time for societal disruption ever. And that is why we at the Pioneer Academy and Pioneer Lands, you should go to pioneerlands.org, by the way, are working on a new system. Let me talk about this for a second. AGI. We have all these different topics. We have robots, we have autonomy, we have space, we have AI blockchain, we have macro, and then of course we have the civilizational dimensions here, starting with AI income, how we generate income for entire countries once the jobs are replaced, and most importantly, how do we generate income for ourselves? Now, based on capital, stocks, investing, bonds, and so on. Back to AGI. We will start, and you can go there. We are revamping this up every day right now. First of all, we have these cool live sessions. You will see when they're scheduled. This one is actually starting very soon. I have to stop the video in a second. But research, our job now in this space, and this will be collaborative. I want to make it open source so all of you guys can join. But we are going to drive it also with some internal people here. Each of these 10 big themes, AGI, robots, autonomous transport, space AI, blockchain AI, macro, AI income, and so on. Each of them will have a system of research where we build quantitative models of reality of the future. We model out exactly what's going to happen. For example, in AGI, job replacement, AGI capability by job sector. And everyone can start working with us on these models to make them smarter and have the world's leading AI predictive model on societal impact, economic impact, and of course informing also then our stock models, because these predictions feed directly into NVDA chip demand, into Tesla chip demand, into AMD, Broadcom, and so on, into OpenAI, Anthropic, and so on and so forth. We are building basically the central predictive model. What is the capability of AGI? What jobs are affected? What sectors are affected? What piece of the GDP and economy? And from there, model it out very systematically. And we are going to do it collaboratively out in the open, because that affects us all. And to get the best model, we need to get the best minds on it. We have an internal team to coordinate this. And we will then see and derive all the impacts on stocks, on income, on trading, all the fun stuff. But in the beginning, we need to develop these powerful models. That is our mission, the Pioneer Academy. Go to pioneerlands.org. See you there. And I will keep you updated. We will also have more videos like this explaining each of these sectors: robots, autonomous transport, space AI, blockchain, finance, macro, and so on and so forth. And I will explain in each of them what the revolution is and why it's so important. So I hope you enjoyed this. This was interesting. See you on pioneerlands.org or tomorrow here on the channel. Until then,